Are we live?
Yes.
All right. Welcome to the True Sky Crew podcast, where we share our cosmic pearls of wisdom. Why True Sky Astrology? Because when we align with the true sky, we align with our true self. We are your hosts, Georgia, Sachi, and Janine. Thank you all for joining us live or on the replay. Tonight, we are going to discuss December transits. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome.
Thank you
Hey,
for
party
joining us
people in the
tonight.
house.
How's everyone feeling tonight?
Ooh, Mercury's feeling spicy today.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
the galactic center got me jazzed up, not in a super fun way.
Mm.
Like the jazz that you don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, you're just like, ooh, everything's tingly, but I don't know what to do about it.
Breathe.
Slow the heart rate down. Yes.
Yeah. Mercury is a trickster like that.
Yeah, those
That's
upgrades
true.
sometimes are a little bit challenging to ride out.
Mm-hmm. Especially the galactic center. That's a
That's a big
super PowerPoint.
Yes, it is.
Hi, everybody in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Live chat is open. We are rolling. You guys, anybody has questions anytime, just pop your questions in the chat. We have a big December update for y'all. Like, there is so much going on in December.
Oh, yeah. All the good
Almost
things.
like, I'm glad it's hibernation season. I can just stay in bed and write it out.
That's exactly how I'm feeling too.
Yeah.
Looking forward to doing that through February.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like these transits are designed to be done through the dream space. A lot of them. It's such a mystical time of year.
Yeah, I think
It
a lot
is.
of it can be processed through that sleep state, which will be nice.
Well,
So
hibernation bear energy.
yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah.
So we do have a lot to cover. You know how these go, you guys. Like
Yes,
a
we do.
3-hour marathon. So
Yeah,
we should probably just move it
Yeah.
along.
definitely.
So
All right.
do we want to do our announcements super quick?
I think so.
All right. So you
All right.
guys, we have had some messages from folks that they are interested in a 2024 True Sky calendar. So we are working up some options for you. I think we're going to do a wall calendar. That seemed to be a pretty popular option. And we are probably going to beta test a daily planner. So at some point we'll figure out how to offer these for like pre-sale. So you guys let us know who wants one, like DM us on Instagram, or you can put a message in our YouTube comments if you're interested in a calendar or a daily planner, and we will figure out how to make those available. So I think with the daily planner, we're going to maybe release like the first 3 months via PDF and then release the rest of the year when we get it finished, because it's a lot to do in a month. So again, this will be a beta test to see what y'all resonate with. If there's any gaps we can fill. So we'll give the first 3 months out and then we'll sort of maybe reconfigure and
Mhm.
then, send out the other 9 months. So that'll be fun. That'll be a fun project.
Yeah.
Probably down the road.
And
it might
so
just turn
handy to
into an
have one of
app.
these.
Yeah.
I know I will be using it every day.
Oh,
I know,
me
me
too.
too. Like, I'm seeing how this can cross over for our content too. I think it'll make our content a lot easier,
Definitely.
consistent. Like, it'll just be like every day, boom, here's what's happening. So that'll be fun.
Mhm. Yeah, even our
Mhm.
episodes, we can just look at our own calendar and
That's right.
go through it.
Post it in stories.
Uh-huh.
So even if y'all don't have a calendar, it's like the information will still come through. You just won't get all the juicy details.
Yeah.
So anybody interested in that, let us know. And we're also going to open a group chat this month. Georgia, do you want to tell people how they get in?
We were joking around that the password should be like, you have to know your big three in True Sky. and you can get in. And if you want to know how to look up your true sky chart, there is a chart calculator in my resources and my highlights in my Instagram. So you can find it there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so we'll be making a post on the True Sky Crew Instagram. We'll probably also drop that here on YouTube. And then you can comment a request to get added. As long as
we'll
you have
probably
the
make
password
the
once you join.
post. Yeah, we'll probably make the post or the announcement like on Instagram this week once we get the group opened. And then y'all just jump in there with requests. So that'll be fun. We might move over to a different platform eventually. We're kind of just trying some things out.
Mm-hmm.
And this seemed to be the easiest thing to do. See how it goes. See if it needs to get more organized or if it just is better as like a stream of consciousness chat. So we'll see how it goes.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that'll be fun. And we're gonna have to talk about moderators too. Like, well, we'll talk about that amongst ourselves.
Yeah, good idea.
Because goodness knows we have enough to do. We might have to bring on a moderator. So we'll see. Fun. So those are our big announcements. I'm kind of really excited about the 2024 calendar project.
Yeah.
Super duper.
Fun and practical.
Absolutely. It's the name of the game.
The best.
So where do we want to start with December, you guys? Holy moly.
Whew.
Well, it looks like first up on our list is the retrograde recap. Should we start there?
Yeah, let's start with the retrograde party. We got a bunch of planets dancing around this month. So it looks like at the beginning of December, we have four major celestial bodies currently in retrograde: Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, and asteroid Chiron. And then some of our friends will be leaving the party this month. Most of our friends will be leaving the party. Neptune will station direct around the 5th of December and go direct on the 7th in Pisces. Next up, Mercury will be doing a full retrograde and station by the end of December. So he's doing a little yo-yo thing this month. So he will station retrograde on the 12th, and then he will station direct, like he only retrogrades for about 3 weeks. So he will station direct again on the 31st, like kind of almost into the 1st of January. It'll be like overnight. So January 2nd, he will be direct again. And then Chiron will station direct on the 25th of December in Pisces. There's our friend Chiron. I'm kind of happy that he's done retrograding, honestly. He will he will go direct on the 27th. So, you know, for anybody who hasn't really looked at retrogrades much, the planet stations, there's about 2 days between a station and a direct. It doesn't matter what planet it is. It usually takes it 2 days. So you just kind of can calculate. If I say station direct, you know, okay, in 2 days he'll be direct, because sometimes I forget to say both. And then Jupiter, last up on the list, he will station direct in the Cetus Aries void on December 29th. And he will go direct on the 31st, so on the last day of December. And that just leaves Uranus partying on his own. Not that he cares, he's happy to do it.
Yep. He doesn't need anyone's approval, that's for sure.
That's for sure. He is a party all by himself. He can hold that vibe. So he's going to be, I think he's going to be in retrograde till about the 27th of January. So he's got about another month to go. Yeah, about January 27th. So that's what we got going on this month. Everybody's kind of throwing it in drive. So it feels like you might feel like you're getting pulled around this month. I feel like, you know.
it was giving me the feeling of being in a washing machine when I was looking
yeah.
at these transits, like, ooh, we're going to get a little bit cleaned up, especially with Mercury, the place that it's going back through. I was like, we're going to be changing our minds about how we relate to ourselves on a spiritual level in a pretty big way. And that's why it kind of said, it feels like I'm in the washing machine with this one.
Yeah, you're at the ringer, literally.
Uh-huh. Vicious spin cycles for sure. Or vigorous, I should say, not vicious.
Vigorous.
Yeah.
Vigorously squeezing out all those things that are not really you.
All that dirt.
Add a little OxyClean.
Yeah. Maybe some essential oils in there.
It's funny. So that's the retrograde recap, y'all. Busy with that.
As we go through the various transits, it will come out more, but with Neptune going direct and the area that Mercury is going retrograde through, it did give me that feeling of, oh, this is the time of year that is the time of year to take a deeper journey. Like, we have access to the various planes within us. We have DMT inside of our, bodies and minds as it is. But there are times of the year where there's a call to perhaps go deeper, whether it's through breath, using Blue Lotus, something else. But it does definitely feel to me like, oh, this is the time of year that we could take the more heroic dose, or we could take that deeper journey.
Or the heroic dose is going to take you.
That's usually
usually how it works. It's like, I don't have to do nothing. It just comes and taps me on the shoulder and is like, hey, we're going. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So for some people it happens
definitely
that
access
way.
it in different ways.
For some people, they may have to walk towards it a little bit.
Yes. But for a lot of us, it comes through naturally. It's happening within the astrological bandwidth of our being. So it's dropping into the space, like you were saying. It just drops in as is.
Definitely, there's an endogenous way to find the inner path to the outer spaces.
Yeah, I tend to attribute it to like my Uranus archetype being very calibrated. It's like when there's just celestial things that need to come through, it just comes through. And I just figure out how to work with it. So it's kind of nice in a way because I don't ever have to go looking for it. But at the same time, it can come up at times where you're like, why now? I'm busy, and you just have to be like, put it aside and like just sit down and do the work, whatever it needs in the moment. Because apparently this time-space moment is important for that. So let's just do it. So
I can relate to that. Yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind when those synchros come through, folks. Sometimes there's a reason it's important to do that exploration in the moment.
Exactly. And there's never really, right, there's so many times it's like, oh, this isn't the right time to be moving through this or dealing with this, but it's like there's never going to feel like the right time. The right time is when it comes up. Trying to put it off is just going to causing more issues.
Sometimes you lose a certain essence of it when you don't attend to it in the moment. On the other hand, true. I have asked like my higher aspects, please deliver these things to me when I can attend to them. I'm trying to work as like a co-creator on this. Please deliver this to me when I can attend to it. So we're working on it.
Yeah.
That's a great message.
That's helpful advice.
There,
Yeah.
So this month is also December solstice. I'm going to refrain from calling it winter solstice because for some people it's actually summer solstice. So December solstice, wherever you are in the world. Or we could call it, where is it? Well, it's in a funny spot in the sky, so I'm just going to call it December solstice. It's in Ophiuchus, like it is just, the sun has just exited Scorpio, like from all the looking at Scorpio and Ophiuchus I did last week. And then I look at the transits for December. I'm like, holy shit, the sun literally just moved past the alignment with the last Scorpio star. It's sitting in the gap where it's still within Ophiuchus, but hasn't quite moved into the Sagittarius Ophiuchus void. So it's literally just in Ophiuchus energy according to the alignments with the fixed stars. I was like, wow, talk about like capacity for healing on the winter solstice or December solstice.
Wow, and sitting there with Venus too, so close
Yeah,
to Venus.
right
That's
between
really
Venus and
special.
Mars.
Yeah,
Mhm.
look at
Ooh,
that.
yeah, look at
It's
that.
bridging that solar gap between the Venusian aspects of
Divine
Ophiuchus
feminine, divine
and,
masculine.
yeah, the Martian energy of Sag.
Yeah. And we're coming back up. Like, you remember how Venus and Mars were dancing together?
Yeah.
They began their dance back in June, and it's this February that they'll actually conjoin. So we're starting to see their dance kind of
Or mating ritual.
re-emerging here, which is pretty cool.
That's super fascinating because this lunar cycle that we're currently in, it was the new moon in Libra, like that was the theme. And the full moon had the similar theme with masculine feminine integration. So this is for the December solstice. And then in February, like you said, Georgia, we have Venus and Mars actually conjunct. Holy moly. It's just like, yeah, we're definitely working on that. Like seriously hardcore.
And that to me feels so connected to the fact that next year is the year of the dragon.
Ooh.
And so that union, that masculine feminine union, I mean, we know that we're talking about that union within primarily and always. Mm-hmm. And for me, that's like when that union comes online, that's also the activation of our dragons. And so we can see that that's going to be playing out in the astrology next year.
Yeah, I wonder what star they're going to be aligned with. I'll save that for February. I'm like, there's a part of me that wants to go look that up right now. I'm like, no, we'll wait for February.
We'll wait.
Because I think they'll be past all the Draco stars. So it'll be interesting to see where they line up.
Mm-hmm. Somewhere in Capricorn.
Okay. Maybe like Cygnus energy. That would be cool if it was like Cygnus. We'll let y'all know. We'll keep you updated. So it does feel like a super powerful December solstice this year. Well, of course, every year it's in the same spot for where we're at in the precessional cycle right now. But it's the first time I've really delineated where Scorpio ends, where Ophiuchus ends. And I was like, wow, look at that. So pretty cool stuff.
Very
right
cool.
in that pocket. And it feels like there's a lot going on, like just looking through the rest of the transits for the year. I'm like, yeah. Solstice to the 26th. Wow. Is there a lot of stuff going on?
Mm-hmm. It's a powerhouse full moon, that's for sure.
Oh, I think both the moons, the new and the full, are just, it's going to be a wild month, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that full moon is definitely the one to put the seatbelt on for. So let's quit. Let's quit teasing everybody. I feel like we're teasing everybody. Let's talk about what the sun's doing. Then we can talk about the moons, because those moons are spicy this month. So on the 1st of December, the sun is in Scorpio Ophiuchus blended energy. So I did a deep dive on the asterisms and the different types of asterism patterns that are available, and I kind of picked my favorite. So sometimes the artwork is a little challenging because it makes it look like it's one place when like the asterisms might be somewhere else. So just roll with us on this because it's just kind of all new for me to be looking at it this way anyway. But I feel like, let's see, where is it on the, oh, okay. On December 20th, the sun aligns. Okay, so the sun is traveling through Scorpio Ophiuchus blended energy until the 20th of December, where he aligns with G Scorpio in the tail of Scorpio. So it's that one that this asterism doesn't show it as part of the constellation, but it's that one to the left of Shola that's kind of not in the, oh man, I'm using my pointer like you can see it. It's that bright one to the left, out in space.
That's not this one?
Nope.
That one? No?
Out in space,
This
to the
one.
left of the tail.
Oh, to the left. Okay,
Yeah,
this
the bright one. The really bright one.
This one?
That one. Yeah, that's
Oh.
G Scorpio.
Okay.
So that, in the asterisms that I decided for myself, was the most appropriate
Mm-hmm.
in my app, or my software is called G Scorpio. Like, I couldn't find it in my software at all. Like, it didn't even list it. So I was like, okay, I'll put the one right over here next to it and I'll count 1 degree over that way. But that's kind of the last star technically in Scorpio. So the sun aligns with that and then moves out of Scorpio. And then he's floating around for about a day or 2 days. It's like a day and a half in a fucus only energy according to the alignments. So that's where on the 21st, the sun is at the solstice, right in the middle. So on the 22nd, the sun leaves Ophiuchus energy and moves into the Ophiuchus Sagittarius void. And I was using fixed star Sinistra. I know I've talked about a fixed star called Fella, but it was in a different asterism pattern. So they're both kind of in the same alignment, so it doesn't really matter which one you use. But Sinistra is a brighter star, so I'm like, I'm going with that one. So it's where he's holding the snake in that.
This?
No,
this.
yeah, that one. That's Sinistra. So that's the one I'm using as an exit star.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then do we have a date for when the sun is aligned with the galactic center?
The 19th.
Okay. Let's see on the list.
It's probably
here
under
it is.
fixed star alignments.
There it is.
So, yeah, the 22nd to the 23rd, the sun is traveling through Ophiuchus Sagittarius void, and then on the 23rd, the sun aligns with fixed star Nash. That's what it's called in most sky apps, and enters Sagittarius officially according to the alignments. So that's some interesting jostling around, or jockeying through different energies. There's it was interesting because when I'm looking at Ophiuchus, he actually holds all of Scorpio within him, and I was like, oh, that is just so on point. I'm like, amazing. Right? Even though the entry at Scorpio, like the sun on the ecliptic transits through the Scorpio asterisms, he technically aligns with Yed Prior in Ophiuchus 6 hours before he moves across the Scorpio asterism. So he's literally like holding all of that Scorpio within. I was like, wow. So exciting.
Yeah, to me it makes so much sense, like the way that I have come to feel about this area of the sky. I was really grateful when you brought that out in the post. I was like, oh yay, now we have we can show the reason. The stars confirm it. Yes,
they confirm it. And I really feel like it's a blended, it's kind of like Scorpio is the masculine water, because Mars rules Scorpio as a personality type planet. And then Ophiuchus, we're going to have to, when we do the Ophiuchus, well, it might be Scorpio and Ophiuchus zodiac episode, we're going to have to talk about the archetype of Ophiuchus, because I feel like it's a feminine archetype. It's like the feminine and the masculine coming together, and that is the transcendent thing as you cross galactic center, is like unifying those two things. So
I feel that too really strongly, and especially because when you look at history, the ancient keepers of wisdom were like a feminine snake kind of archetype, like priestess and things like
oracles,
that.
Yeah.
And then if you even go farther back and we look at creation stories of the feminine dragon serpent archetypes being like mother of creation, then we can definitely say that archetype, like the serpent bearer, is certainly feminine. So I feel like it has an underlying energy that's feminine while also being an energy that's of union of the feminine and masculine.
Yeah, it's literally like Ophiuchus rides. Like it looks to me like he surfs on the back of Scorpio. It's like you do have to learn how to navigate that water. You have to ride it like your life depends on it, right?
Because that
You're
those
good at it
deepest
and it's fun.
waters are
Yeah.
what inform like the living chalice. Like you have to get the deepest waters to like really like put on your light bodysuit,
Yeah.
so to speak.
And then there's another layer of it across the sky with Orion. So it's like I feel like Ophiuchus definitely has to be feminine because it's a counterpart to Orion on the other side. So I'm looking for information as to what was the original archetype and if it was ever changed to a masculine archetype that, you know, that sort of kind of like hidden knowledge type stuff, and when it was changed.
And we could also consider serpents as the feminine archetype, whereas Ophiuchus could be the masculine container trying to bear the serpentine energy.
Yeah, that might I really have to sit down and think about it because that is plausible as well. But I
think
feel
there's
like
multiple
something
ways to
else
look at
to the
it.
story. Yeah, I think there's something
But I
else.
feel like there's something else too. And I really feel this like this powerful union across the sky between Orion as a masculine and Ophiuchus. I almost wanted to start calling her Ophiusa. Like I felt like this Ophiusa. But Ophiuchus across the sky, like it feels like such a feminine, masculine polarity.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be balanced in some way.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I get a lot of feminine energy from Ophiuchus just because of the nature of the archetype with magic and alchemy and herbalism and Kundalini.
Yeah, and I know you've talked about this before, Georgia, too. The serpent is really a masculine and feminine archetype. It's all of it in one symbol. You know, it's the masculine and the feminine all in one. The mouth
I
of
feel
the
like
snake
it's
versus, you know, the actual body of the snake.
The snake, yeah.
Nature.
Though I will say, like, it still has that feeling to me of that it carries both while having an underlying feminine feeling.
Are you talking about just the serpent?
Just the serpent, even for me. Like I feel like it carries it definitely carries both, but at the same time, if I was going to choose one, it would be definitely feminine.
Yeah, for me, it's like it's both. Like now that I've seen that anatomy of a snake's mouth, it's like I can't unsee it. I'm like, nope, it's definitely the symbol of both of them unified together.
Yeah.
But why is a man, you know, why is Ophiuchus a man that's wielding
look at this big snake, of course.
Yeah. I think there's a deeper story where it was probably a female before that. Like, you know, the oracle, wisdom keepers, that kind of stuff. But if there's not, I'm interested in learning that too, if he was always coded as a man. Well, when I got into the classical asterisms, it's like he has no legs. He's a body holding a snake. I'm like, well, no wonder nobody's been doing healing until the last, you know, maybe 500 years because he didn't have any dang legs. Like literally
which
is floating.
It's an interesting part because it still includes the root chakra in the depiction, but not the lower aspects of it that actually
not the earth star. Like below the feet is the earth star, so it's like ungrounded completely in that capacity. But you're right.
It kind of grounded in scorpion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grounded in fixed water. It can also be an area that transcends the duality of masculine and feminine, which would make sense with the aspect of that it's since Ophiuchus, you know, found the elixir of life, the secret to immortality, was able to raise the dead. So clearly those are things that work outside the binary system that we're programmed into.
Yeah. I could see it as it's too scary to touch that scorpion. Like, so he just didn't have any legs. But it's also like the
Touch it with
healer
the
archetype
toe
too.
he
I'm like, he's
doesn't
literally
have.
paraplegic.
Yeah.
You know. So I like the archetype with the two legs crossing the ecliptic. I'm like, yes, that feels like we've landed him, right? Like there he is, learning how to surf that scorpion. So that was just a funny visual in my head. I'm like, he's like that guy from the TV show that's like always base jumping and like surfing with sharks. And he's uninsurable. Like he's looking for $1 million in life insurance, and the guy won't insure him because he's like, no. It's like some Ben Stiller movie or something. And I just can see that scene playing out in my head. Somebody knows who that character is.
I'm not familiar, but
Yeah.
I'll have to find
I'm
it and post
sure,
it in
yeah.
stories. It's funny. He's like an Australian guy, like in the movie. Whoever he is in the movie is like an Australian accent. Anyway, sidebar. So, what else
So,
is the sun doing?
the sun is going to hit Antares on the 2nd.
Oh, power portal.
For me, like the heart of the scorpion, it kind of feels like almost like the sacred altar of death, like where we go to do our final transformation, or maybe not final, but like the kind of like merging of the light and dark body. So then the more like higher aspect starting to move into Ophiuchus occurs from this space.
Yeah, Antares is considered one of the four royal stars. I call them the four guardian stars. Well, I mean, you could be royal, but the four sovereignty stars. So it is a power portal. Like when people have these placements in their natal chart at Antares, I'm like, oh, you'd be really great at like contacting the other side, doing Akashic readings. You're very multidimensional. Like it's just something that comes along with that star's energy.
What's come up with me for a few people who've had this placements here is X-ray vision. That's really sees through anything. You can't really get too much past a person who has placements here.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
Yes. And then 2 days later, that's December 2nd, that sun's aligned with Antares. December 4th, Rastaban and Draco, which is a head star, one of Draco's head stars. So the head of the dragon. That's powerful. This whole area of the sky is just so powerful. On December 14th, sun aligns with Razalhag in Ophiuchus, which is the head of Ophiuchus, the head star in Ophiuchus. Also, interestingly, aligned with his left leg asterism that crosses the ecliptic. So the day it aligns with Razalhag, within the same 24 hours, it's also crossing his leg. So it's a powerful, energetic Ophiuchus pop of energy.
And that head star looks like the kind of like a third eye star to me. So it feels like a really, I mean, that's like definitely going to shine some really strong Ophiuchus, opening awareness. A lot of awareness can be opened through, I think, this star.
Yeah, I'm probably doing a lot of conscious healing, like being very aware of what you're working on internally through a healing process.
Being able to see it.
December 16th, sun aligns with Shaula in the tail of Scorpio. That is some intensity right there. Because that whole little triangle, if you look at Scorpio, like actually looking at the stars at night, his tail makes a little triangle, like that G Scorpio is in play there because it's so bright. And galactic center sits above it in that dark patch. And it's a little bit higher, I think.
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
that's it. It's in the dark patch, I think. Like Sagittarius's arrow is pointing right at it. So it kind of puts galactic center on a pedestal, but Shaula, the tail of Scorpion, there can be a lot of the poison is the medicine type stuff going on in that transit.
Dosing is important. Dosage, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like whatever you didn't leave at the altar of death in Antares is gonna like get you on the way out of Scorpio. Like,
Yeah.
oop, oh, you didn't attend
Hey,
to
you
this.
forgot
Sting.
about this.
Yep.
Come
Like you're
back.
not leaving that behind.
Actually, we'll just bring it to you.
Exactly. Oof.
Yeah, and my moon is here, like
Mm.
at Shaula. So trust me, doing that moon work through this
Woo.
kind of energy, I am definitely well learned in this area
Yeah.
of the sky. It is challenging.
This is actually my dad's birthday too, so I can say that as a daughter of a person who has the sun, um, it is a very challenging position. So immediately when you said that, it gave me like a, oh, like
Oh, I
I
understand.
understand. Mm-hmm.
My
Yeah.
dad's birthday is December 17th, so I feel you
Wow.
on the dad
Okay.
birthdays. Like,
Wow.
yeah, my moon and his sun were basically. I was like, oh, okay, we doing some past life cleanup work. Okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, intense stuff. But that's just a preamble to. It's like let's clean it all up before we go past galactic center because that alignment is on the 19th with the sun.
Mm-hmm.
So the sun exactly aligns with galactic center on the 19th, and you want to go through that transit as free and clear as possible. So that's
Yeah.
kind of the
Transiting
whole
there with
purpose. Yeah.
Venus.
Yep. Venus is
Like,
tagging along.
Do you remember the other name for galactic center?
I
It's
think
like
it's Sagittarius A,
is
like
it?
SGRA. It will not show up on my sky app. I do not know why it is not coded in. Maybe because it's a black hole. But you know, Virgo A shows up, so I don't know why
Yeah.
Sagittarius A wouldn't
I
show
thought it
up.
was like M86, but that's the one
Oh, I
in
don't know the
Virgo.
number
Yeah,
designation.
no. Is it M68? No. Okay. All right. I'll have to look that up on my own time.
Yeah.
Somewhere over here, yeah.
It's right in that little spot. Yeah, we'll just go there.
Yeah, no, okay. It
I
doesn't
love
work.
that.
Oh,
I feel like I'm space traveling. Hilarious. And then Sun on the 20th aligns with Edaman and Draco. And
Eye
it's
of the
just like
dragon.
and the sun is just popping past these
Mhm.
placements that are super powerful.
Mm.
So
And
it's
then
kind of in
even
your
just
nose.
singing this, like then when sun goes into Sagittarius, it just brings so much levity, like just so much like we've made it, like that feeling of
Yeah.
oh. And I always call it the God fields, of like the God realms of Sagittarius, because you've made it to the other side, and it's just a moment of kind of being in the glory.
Yeah, you're expanding at this point, right?
Mhm. Jupiterian
Moving.
benevolence, and just it's
Changing some gears.
Mm.
That fire energy comes in for sure.
Mhm.
And it's like the divine spiritual fire. I feel like Sagittarius is where fire turns into light, and it's like the divine fire of God.
Yeah, and also the southern pole star is down there, just past Edaman. So December 24th, the sun crosses the southern pole star. So that's another reason why galactic center is uber powerful, because it's you got that southern pole star down there, the center of our Milky Way, opposite Polaris on the other side, obviously. So it's just like an opportunity to reconnect to all the galactic grids. It's like you can pop out of the matrix, really, is what it feels like. You're like, pow, just get out there and expand. And then in Sagittarius, it's like, yeah, you bring it back, you come back, you're expanded, and like on the journey you go. You can do something with that now. You can have some fun with it.
It is really fun. Sagittarius just is really fun, and I feel like it's a time like there's such a joy and such a levity and like a communion with source, and then we take all of that kind of God substance and then weave it into something that is of use, or like architect structure in Capricorn.
Yeah. And then the last sun transit with the fixed stars is Cos Australis on December 27th. And honestly, Sagittarius is a pretty fun constellation, but that star system is kind of notoriously holding some low vibe energy. It can be a challenging one. So see how that shakes out for you guys on the 27th. It's a calibration moment. I feel like it's tied into like patriarchal domination type. There's some shenanigans that go on. Some groups that like hanging out at that placement. Maybe they're, using that fire energy, the wisdom that comes through things and like misusing it. But like it's kind of it's challenging. So
I know someone who has that birthday, and actually that makes a lot of sense. Kind of a certain misogynistic, foot in the mouth, happy-go-lucky kind of Heyoka type.
Yeah, it could come through as happy-go-lucky in a shoot your mouth off type situation.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of ego. Yeah.
Certainly the shadow of Sagittarius is some self-righteousness, because they have their fingers so on the pulse of the truth that it can be hard for a Sag to remember that not everybody shares the same truth.
That's a very good way of looking at it.
Yeah, and as the ruler of philosophy and theology, anyone with great oration skills can be extremely convincing that it's a truth with a capital T, even when it's not, or convinced of themselves.
Yeah.
Of the
It's like the
self-righteousness.
snake oil salesman, literally.
Exactly. Yeah.
Taking all that serpent dragon energy and using it for their own personal gain, or just trying to co-opt people. So it's an interesting placement for sure.
Though I would say the overall arcane energy of Sagittarius is very much one of truth. Like, I find Sagittarians to be such keepers of the truth. And that even if you lie to a Sagittarian, it's like, if you want a Sagittarius to tell you something, the thing that they have been hiding from you, piss them off. Anger is like a truth serum for a Sagittarius.
It'll all just come pouring out.
It all will come pouring out.
Love that.
My moon is here, so I can say that these are some things I've worked on myself.
Oh gosh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I have found that Sag just really loves to expand their mind in every way in search for truth. It's like a bunch of, truth with a little T on the journey of truth with the big T. And it really is just like consistent exploration. There's never, obviously as the traveler of the zodiac as well, there's never really a destination of truth that's ever found with Sag energy. It's just a constant expansion and exploration.
The journey is the destination.
That's true for me.
Oh, it's such a Sag thing. Yeah,
I think
I have Sag Venus too. So.
Oh, nice. You're Venus?
Yeah.
Nice.
And the placements in Sag too are very, they're very adept at astral traveling. Like as you get towards the end of Sag, especially.
I was going to say, like, because you and I were just talking about this, and something about along the lines of like, when I would say when you have a Sag placements, you're never not doing the spiritual work. You're never not in the astral. You're never not surfing the realms. You're never not in the multi-dimensional aspect of yourself. It's just a constant state of beingness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a way of life for a Sag. They don't, they live and breathe it. They don't know. It's like a fish in water. They just, I'm in water. What?
This is what we do.
They just live in it.
Yeah.
For sure. And then we have to mention too that the sun, I don't know how we skipped. Did we talk about this? Did I miss this? Did I black out? Mercury retrograde on December 22nd will be conjunct the sun at the southern pole star. What? Like, oh
okay.
Gosh.
Again,
about
that
blowing
Mercury,
the socks off some galactic grids. Wow.
Yeah, that Mercury is like, it's in the wash. It's just like, ooh, we're gonna clean this up real good.
We're gonna take care of business this year. So
Mhm.
that is in that Scorpio is it in the Sag void? Yeah. It's in the Scorpio Sagittarius void. No. Sorry, my brain. Ophiuchus Sagittarius void. So it's already exited Scorpio. It's already exited Ophiuchus. And it's in between the two, Sagittarius and Ophiuchus. What? It's like, whoa, in the nether regions.
Yeah.
So that's pretty wild. Mercury and Sun making some attunements that day for sure.
Mhm.
For sure.
So
This will be
fascinating to me when you
around my Mercury return.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, I'm excited. I definitely, you know, when you were talking about placements at Antares, can confirm, speaking to the dead, it's very easy.
Yeah, well, my North Node and my Neptune are there. So,
Ooh, yeah.
I know it, but it's interesting though because I haven't really fully accessed that capacity, but it's because the North Node. It's like it's going to be a lifelong process.
Yeah.
So thankfully that slowed it down a little bit. But yeah, I can attest to there's some interesting things that happen when you've got planets around that big star. It'll be a wild ride.
Indeed.
All right.
Cool. So I feel like that's got the sun summed up pretty well. It's doing a lot of stuff, moving through that Scorpio Ophiuchus energy for most of the month. So hang in there, everybody. Now we get to talk about the moons. The full
I know,
moon,
with
the
all
new
this going on
moon.
with the Mercury and the Sun, here we go with Mercury stationing retrograde with the new moon.
Yeah. Whew. That means that's carrying through the whole 28-day lunar cycle. I'm like, come on. I love you, but I just want to hibernate.
All right. Sorry
But
about that, guys. I just realized the year was set to 2025.
Oh, we're time
So
traveling
that's
for
why when you
real.
were talking about Sun Mercury conjunction, Mercury
like,
was
wait a
up
minute.
here, I was so confused. I apologize about that, everybody. Now we have the right year. All right. So
Okay, there we are. Sun Mercury conjunct. Look at that.
apologize about that. So I guess
So wild.
yeah. All right. Mercury retrograde, shadow period things appearing, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that is actually what it looks like for the month of December. All right. Sorry. All right. New moon.
All good. There's the new moon. Look at that. And this is because the reason why it's not conjunct, because everybody always thinks new moons are always conjunct. They're usually alignments unless it's an eclipse. So note where the moon is, note where the sun is.
right.
Yes.
So working through still working through some shadowy lunar aspects of the Scorpion energy.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Definitely. This will be
Generally, both
time.
are aligned with his left leg, though.
Mhm.
So that asterism that crosses the ecliptic. So definitely a big crescendo of like Ophiuchus energy, but the moon is like percolating that Scorpio stuff up to be matriculated through. A lot of healing through this
A
lunar
lot of
cycle.
deep healing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really just like amazing, and we've said it so many times, but it's never not amazing how on these transits are.
I know.
Mhm.
Totally. And with Mercury stationing retrograde during this new moon, I'm just like, okay, so we're literally taking a month to work on our internal comms, right? Like rewiring our communication network in our bodies. Like, wow. Through purging emotional stuff, sludge.
Yep.
And even, as Sun will begin to move to Sagittarius, we heal our nervous system we already know what it's like to like hold a lot of trauma. So we partly heal our nervous system, our calm system, our electric system through more joy, through increasing our capacity for joy. And so that's one of the things that Sagittarius will, the sun moving through Sagittarius will bring to the table of these like more intense transits happening, is like a lot of what will help us to navigate on a soul level, the sun is going to be accessing our joy.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, that will literally be what gets to shine through as you do the processing. It's just like, you'll just be like, I feel so much better. And like the joy will just be there because that's the true you, right? It just gets to start shining through now. So it's not like you have to go out and find it.
Right?
You are it, right?
We just have to move the part that we have disconnected from.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it does feel like soul recovery and peeling of emotional layers of things with this lunar cycle for sure. So that's a good point that you said reconnecting, because it's like you might need to go do some of those astral travel-y things in other dimensions where you have to go recover parts of yourself and also peel layers of things.
Especially with Scorpius being the fixed water sign. So it's like anything that is stuck in your emotional body that has become solidified like ice. It's like the sun, as it moves through Sag, is going to sort of like thaw that ice out. And with the void moon there, a lot of it has to do with like what void do you think is within your emotional body that's stopping you from being like your whole self.
That is well said. So it does feel like an intense lunar cycle, y'all.
Absolutely.
Wait till we get to the aspects. Oh God.
And it's going to be really illuminating too, in a sense, because it's right at that star that to me seems like the third eye star of Ophiuchus. And so, like I always would tell my son, we have three eyes. The third one is invisible because we use it to see invisible things. So this will be also illuminating a lot of the things that haven't been looked at yet.
Yeah, I find it fascinating that star aligns with the leg asterism that connects to Scorpio. It's literally, yeah, you're literally looking into those things clairvoyantly. So it does totally feel like a whole lunar cycle of like calibrating your clairvoyance.
Yeah.
Pretty cool stuff. So the aspects, good Lord, there's a grand trine with the North Node and Chiron.
You want to pop up your software?
Let's see. What do we want to look? Do we want to look at the ephemeris with the? You'll probably have to stop screen sharing.
Oh, okay, here.
Let's see. We don't want that, do we? Put this. Oops. Come back. Okay. So let's see what it's set on. Hang on, it's gonna take me a second.
No worries.
I was ready for the nodes. I'm not ready for this. Let's see. Oops, what day is it? The 12th?
Ooh, look at Grand Cross.
Yeah. Big stuff in there. 6:30. Oops. All right. I know that looks messy, y'all. We can zoom in a little bit. All right. Okay. Here we go. I have so much issues with this software because times do not match up with stuff in other apps. So it looks like in this that it's not quite the new moon, but it's close enough. So here's the big grand trine. Black moon Lilith, yikes. And North Node Chiron, which are almost, they're close to being conjunct. Close enough for it to be a trine from both the new moon and Black moon Lilith. So that feels super intense. This being in Leo, Black moon Lilith being in Leo, and North Node and Chiron being in Pisces. There is, what else is there? A sextile to the South Node in Virgo, still hanging out at Arcturus. So over here, there's the sextile. So it does feel like some past life cleanup. The Black moon Lilith is like curse clearing, really dank sort of patterns and programs that you get to create a bridge with as you move into your spiritual path, right? In North Node and Pisces.
And as you do your deep healing with the North Node together there with Chiron.
Yes, it's one and the same. The bridge and the path are the same. There's a T-square coming off the new moon to Juno and Neptune. Neptune out of retrograde. So he is moving direct. So I'm like, ooh. So it does feel tense. It feels like there's hierogamic union work definitely going on, consciousness work. It feels a little tense and sticky. You're gonna have to work at it. Keep working.
Yep.
Juno
but it also feels like with Neptune being newly direct, that it's going to bring a lot of clarity in places that may have been a bit muddled before.
That's true. And this is really close to Marquette. Wait till you see. Actually, let me just pull up that chart because I put I never used any sort of reticulum stars before because Zeta Reticuli and all that stuff. But I'm out of curiosity this month. I was like, where does Zeta Reticuli fall on the chart, Marcab? Look at that. I was like, oh wow. Shit.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Wow, that's a whole nother layer.
That's a whole nother combo energy. So it does feel like moon chain lineage cleanup work. Like, wow.
Big time.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anybody who needs to know more about moon chain lineage, because this is a new moon thing, go to Ascension Glossary and type it in the search bar. It feels like some really intense work to it does feel like soul recovery, like go get those other parts of yourself, reintegrate your energy, your masculine, feminine energy. And sometimes it was like maybe you're doing it with a partner, like concurrently, like someone you're working with consciously in the 3D. It can also just be you doing your own energy work and integration. So it depends on what your situation is.
Maybe it even opens some space for some partnership, the work that happens in this area.
Yeah. Check out where Juno is. Mizar and it's really close to, well, no, that's too bad. This is where it was like I was looking at this chart with the accurate new moon for the chart, and like Juno somehow was like closer to Thuban. I was like, whoa. But it looks like it's between an Ursa Major star and a Hydra star. So that feels very powerful. And then there's an inconjunct to Uranus retrograde. So it does tell me we're working on some really squirrely stuff. Here's Uranus. Let's go to the other one. You can see aspects.
A little touch of the unexpected in all of this.
Yeah. There's the inconjunct. You don't know what you don't know. So that confirms for me with kind of Black moon Lilith energy. It's like, yeah, there's probably some for people who have it to reconcile, it will be coming up some really dank, dark magic that has affected like the light body templates, and it can feel really squirrely. So it even makes an aspect. Oh, excuse my internet is unstable. Look, there's a square from Uranus to Black Moon Lilith making a trine here and an inconjunct. So definitely all connected. Those are some intense aspects.
It gave me a feeling of like that thing that's been hidden kind of springing forth from the underbelly of our soul.
Yeah.
So good luck for us.
Good luck, everybody. Big girl panties on, big boy panties on. Whatever
Luckily,
big
with all the
boys
Sag
put
energy,
on. I don't know.
we got
so much good luck.
Luck. Yeah.
Although luck is a whole nother conversation. I mean, what is luck? But we have a lot to talk about, so we'll come back to that.
What is luck? Yeah.
Luck
Check
is
out the
alignment.
fixed star. Uranus is creeping towards Bharani. 41 Aries is Bharani. I was like, ooh, Georgia will love that. And this Rushba star in Cassiopeia, which sit in the same place on a chart, basically. Like, oh, there is some just, it feels kind of icky, but you know, like you said, like I think the sun traveling into Sagittarius, like there will be a purge, but there will also be some levity as we move into the Sagittarius things through the lunar cycle.
An easy light to see at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
A very bright, fun light. Like a rave. Like, come on.
Like a rave.
You know, when we say Sagittarius is so like fun and happy like this, it's that way in which when we return to ourselves, we become like children again. So it's like, it's not just like, oh, Sagittarians are just like little children. It's like Sagittarians are old souls who have like reconnected with the joy of life. And that's the other thing. Sagittarians are so often given that stigma of, oh, you can't commit to anything. And that's not true. Sagittarian, though, can only commit to the truth. So if what they have signed up for becomes the not truth for them, then it's a not negotiable. They can't stay.
I agree with that. Yep.
So then with Uranus connecting with that star in Bharani, I think that's like that underbelly feeling I'm having too, because that's going to clear up a lot of stuff in the womb space.
Did you say the womb space or the wound space?
The womb, well, the wound space for sure, but the womb space being that Bharani. This is like the yoni of the lamb.
Okay, yeah, you're talking about Bharani, gotcha.
Yeah. Uranus. So a lot of really deep healing coming up within all of this, and it's nice that we can be held in some happiness while we're doing this incredibly deep work.
Yep, it feels intense.
All
so
right,
this is the moving along. This is the full moon. So the moon symbol is here, but it lives. This is where it's at. It can be a little bit hard to see. That's where it is. It's going to be in Gemini, full moon in Gemini. So again, if you're in doubt that we're calibrating the internal tech, there it is. We're doing it.
Yeah.
Full moon in Gemini. The sun's over here in Sagittarius. Let's see, what was it aligned with? At Cos Australis. Wah wah. So we are definitely, there will be some things coming up for this full moon, y'all. Depending on what time is actually correct, the alignment with the moon was either a Monoceros star, or Alhena in Gemini. So either way, it's kind of between the two. So it does feel like this is a timeline kind of full moon, like working on some timeline stuff. We got
some more timeline jumping, purification codes happening, especially through the moon with the unicorn and, of course, the moon. Recalibration of the nervous system through Gemini.
And the DNA is what, gives you the ability to access timelines. healing and emitting your true DNA coding, like you just are a magnet for your original time, like your organic timeline. So it does feel like there will be shifts. There will be things surfacing so you can make those attunements. I always feel like the full moon, it doesn't fix it for you, but it sure brings it up for you to make some different choices.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like that stuff will be coming up from kind of this fixed star cos australis could be like patriarchal domination themes coming up, or some sort of distorted masculine energy coming up to have a look at it. So make some different choices. Don't be, well, I don't want to say don't be, but like the emotions will probably, your choices, how you navigate the emotions, the choices you make will help you calibrate those things. So be aware of that stuff. There's a weak opposition to Mars and Mercury retrograde in Scorpio Ophiuchus at Shaula. These two guys over here, it is a weak opposition. It's not, exactly conjunct the sun, but there's a weak opposition here. So Shaula, the stinger, the tail of Scorpio. The poison is the medicine. Remember that with this full moon, y'all. For sure.
And
One of the
medicine
things
can
that,
become poison.
yeah, and a lot of things that are poison are medicine, but it has to be in the right dose. So that's something to think about, is like dosage.
Yeah, the stuck emotions are the key to the healing itself. It's just, how are you looking at those things, right? Are you shoving them back down in the psychic basement, or are you inflicting the stuff on other people? Or are you staying in observer mode and going, why, thank you, there's anger in here. Let's go figure out who's angry, right? Where do you live in the space-time continuum? And why are you here? So the thing itself is the answer. You just have to know how to turn around and look at it and what to do with it when you find it. I mean, that's kind of key. Otherwise, it just runs you, right? Like you just come from reactionary places. So I feel like it is going to be a master class in dealing with that stuff for this full moon. Luckily, I say luckily, there's a sextile to Jupiter retrograde in Cetus Aries void. So Jupiter, I don't know, sometimes it could just be like, well, it's big. Usually you think of Jupiter like, oh, benefic, but I've learned it's not always the case. It just can be like, it's big.
Yeah, it makes anything
I agree with that.
just bigger, which can be also problems.
Yes.
But in general, I would say typically Jupiter is a jolly old fellow.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
If he's going to show you something that's hard, he's also going to at least like kind of help show you the way to deal with that difficulty.
Oh, yeah.
Some kind of benevolence with Jupiter. Although in medical astrology, Jupiter can just be like, the fact that it's making something big can sometimes also be a big trouble.
Yeah. And in this area of the sky, he's getting really, really close to being in that Pisces, Cetus, Aries. From my calculations with a fixed star, he never quite dips into it because it's about right here. And it goes a little bit into Pisces. There's about 4 degrees right here where it's like all 3 of them are combined. But he's right on the cusp of it. So even just Cetus Aries, like being right deep in that Cetus Aries, it's like, it's coming from galactic places, like really hidden depths in your memory banks kind of thing. So it feels like if you kind of understand that, you'll be supported in diving in that deep. But you maybe just need to know that it's coming from a place that deep. So it's gonna be interesting to see what he throws in the mix there. And then there is a trine to Saturn in Aquarius. This lovely little trine. So it does feel like karma cleanup work. Activating your light body technology, because he's sitting right at a Pegasus. Saturn's sitting at a Pegasus star. So galactic DNA recodes. Kind of amazing. I'm just going to leave it like it's a huge opportunity. But
And on a
both of the
collective
the
level.
new and the full feel a little spicy, honestly.
Yeah. Well, it's like there's so much going on, and like when you're in the washer, it reminds me of being in the ocean. And have you ever been in the ocean and a big wave comes and you just get absolutely sucked, pummeled, tossed, and then spit back out on the ocean? When you're in a kind of wave like that, the only thing you can do is let go, because
Roll
otherwise
with
you'll
it.
hurt
Yeah,
yourself.
and like
You have to just roll with it and you'll be
roll
fine.
with it. Yeah.
So it's kind of the same thing with all this like really intense stuff going on with the sky. You just have to roll with it.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's going to be really hard.
Yeah, don't tense up. It's like if you get in a car crash, to
Yeah.
relax your body so that there's less damage or no damage, or to reduce the amount of pain. Very similar.
Yep.
Go
Just
with the
take some
flow.
nice deep breaths and roll with it. Well, that's kind of my motto at this point when the stuff comes up. I'm like, well, there it is. I have some choices. What do I want to do? Look at this alignment. Look at this. Almost sitting right on Enif. It's a galactic DNA recoding full moon kind of party.
Yay.
It's like galactic karma, though. I think it's gonna be interesting. I would
That's
say,
gonna
like,
be
if there was a
deeply
month
healing.
that everybody wanted to go do a past life regression, this is the month to do it. Seriously, just dive in with 2 feet.
Yeah, a lot of
What were you
the
saying,
things
Georgia?
a lot of what we carry in like our shadow body, like our pain body, has to do with things that are galactic karma, past life, and things like this. So this feels like it also offers. I mean, this offers an amazing opportunity to work on
Yeah.
things that are normally beyond our reach,
Yeah.
or beyond our reach without some
Shift some of
effort,
those.
some effort.
Shift some of those really old timelines that have been running for maybe many, many lifetimes.
Yes.
Yeah. It's gonna be a fun one. If you like doing that depth work, it's gonna be very productive. So, and then I had a fun little, I was like, let's pull the day the moon is conjunct Black Moon Lilith, because I feel like that just is gonna, it just gives you some information that, I don't know, is really helpful. You know me, I'm all about the inner work. It's December 4th, moon conjunct Black Moon Lilith. It moves fast, so let's see. Get that out of the way. Oh, this is the one that was Thuban. I think I mistyped something in here because I saw Thuban. I was like, wait a minute, that's not where. December 4th, moon and Black Moon Lilith conjunct at Thuban. And literally, like you said earlier, Georgia, it's like you cannot make this stuff up. What the heck? There's some deep shadow work going on this month, y'all. So Thuban, the alignment with Thuban comes through Leo. And let's see, we want to look at the other chart for that because that one is sidereal. There, that's where it falls in Leo, about mid constellation. So this is Regulus over here. So sovereignty, things challenging our sovereignty. It's like a dragon lineage cleanup with the Black Moon Lilith moon thing. Super fascinating. Yeah, the more I kept looking in December, I was like, yikes. What is happening this month? We're not done yet. That's just the sun and the moon, y'all. Y'all have anything else you want to say about full moon in Gemini?
Breathe.
Yeah, a great time to release things from your electrical system for sure. Especially with all the Sagittarius activations, a lot of mental rewiring is going to be necessary. Perception shifts, new ways of thinking, allow new like philosophies into your mind when we have the new moon in Sag in January. But first you have to release all of the things that have been stored in your neurons with the full moon in Gemini. So a lot of brain work. That's what it feels like.
Focus on the exhale. And a really good time to pray. Like whatever that looks like for you, whether it's like a living conversation or meditation, dance, whatever it is, it's also a really good time to have a conversation with Source.
Yeah, that feels very true. Your higher self, Source, whatever your route is to
Whatever that is
the
for
greater
you.
unified field. Yes. Yes. Shall we move on to Mercury? Speaking of electrical system, let me stop screen sharing and you can have the floor with the sky up.
Alrighty,
Though we've already spoken quite a bit about Mercury, just given its connections with the sun and the moon right now.
all right.
Yeah, we can just track him through the sky for the month because he does a retrograde direct thing within December. So
here we go.
He's doing his little washing machine thing.
All right, in 2023, good. Just double checking. Get a little bit of time travel there. Very interesting. All right.
There he is. Yeah, so that's the beginning of the month. Yeah. So on the 3rd, he goes into Sagittarius proper. Yeah. And then he kind of stops. I think he stops at Cos Australis.
I think that's right. Somewhere around there.
10th, 11th.
Where did I write that? Yeah, it's on the 12th. So I wrote it somewhere.
Yes, the 12th. Station's retrograded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta make notes to myself when it's not at a fixed star because I'm always sitting here thinking, why did I not write down what fixed star to stop at? It's like he's just in between stars. That's why. Like I had to really think about it. And then he starts retrograding. Let's see. He goes back into the Sagittarius Ophiuchus void on the 21st. So December solstice, he's moving back into that void space. Enters Ophiuchus again on the 23rd. Enters Scorpio Ophiuchus again on the 24th. So Christmas Eve. And he station directs again on the 31st.
Be careful on family gatherings. Maybe go outside and take a breath before you just say the thing.
I was thinking that through Christmas. I'm like, there's going to be a lot of people popping off this Christmas.
Yeah, that's true.
Those are recalibration moments, people.
And if it's your turn to pop off, go for it. You are empowered by the sky.
So when he stations direct on the 31st, he will be in that alignment with Ophiuchus's left leg, like crossing the asterism, and aligned with the third eye star Razoheg in Ophiuchus's head, his head star. So that's where he's parked for 2 days while he's stationed direct. I'm like, wow, you know business, buddy.
It's like he's opening third eyes.
Yeah,
literally
before
ding, ding, getting into like
you get
it's
a
like
third
almost
eye
like
for
the
Christmas,
retrograde
you get a third eye for
the third eye. Yeah.
Some people get coal in their stockings, some people get their third eye activated.
Right. An unwelcome third eye activation. Yikes. That sounds like a bad card against humanity's card.
Oh. So Mercury retrograde, we probably talked about both of these already because we've already talked about no, we haven't talked about Mars yet. Mercury retrograde will be conjunct Sun on the 22nd. We have talked about that one. Mercury retrograde will also be conjunct Mars in Scorpio Ophiuchus at Shaula. We might have mentioned that one. On the 27th. So that one feels intense.
Yeah. Be careful of your anger on that day.
Yes.
Be careful what you say, especially if it's coming from a place of anger.
Yeah. And it literally feels like he's crossing back over that Milky Way galaxy to be like, oh, we didn't quite get it all. Let's back up. Let's squeeze a little bit more of that stuff. And then we'll go back across it with all the attunements. So that moment on the 27th with Mercury conjunct Mars at Shola feels like we're really bringing it up for this round.
Right. And with Sun being at House Australis that same day,
Yeah.
I think what you were saying, Sachi, is definitely right. Be careful with that anger like truth serum. Because there's the potential to make a lot of damage with that, with what you may say.
Poison.
Make sure you mean it before you say it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And if you don't mean it, you don't have to fully mean it, but you don't have to nice it either.
Yeah, it's just gonna bring up some distorted masculine energy patterns to really have a good look at. So it doesn't mean they have to come out of your mouth, but they will probably rattle around for you to notice.
More it'd be the low vibe if it just comes right out of the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you can't handle, like,
Word
if you're
vomit.
not good at the pause and breathe and the reaction is running you, then you're really gonna notice this transit in 3D.
Especially with Venus over in Libra. Be very careful of your
yeah.
personal relationships.
Yeah. Man. True story.
And then at the same time with Venus moving through Libra for all of this, it's really will bring also a grace. There'll be a grace and kind of a generosity when it comes to our relationships. There'll be some sense of beauty. There'll be some sense of like, this has meaning. All of this is difficult, but we can see the beauty behind it.
Mm-hmm. All in the name of justice and balance.
Yeah, like
and if not, then that's when Mercury and Mars get activated together.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's another integration station for Venus and Mars. How do you dance in this kind of energy? He has, and Mercury has a truckload of fixed star alignments because he's trucking over some and then he's backing up over them. So maybe I'll just post all these dates instead of, because there's a lot. But it's basically that southern pole star, Cos Australis, and then he backs up over those two. He goes over Edaman and Draco Galactic Center again, Shaula, as he's backing up Razelheg in the left leg of Ophiuchus. So we can post those dates on the Instagram page.
Yeah, I mean, look at that, like right before the full moon, Mercury at Galactic Center. I mean, this is just all like just popping off.
Isn't it though?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Pretty wild. It's very consistent though. The theme is so uber consistent. It's kind of mind-boggling.
Mm-hmm. Oh, with the moon there too in Gemini, I just got like, well, write some things down. Like the downloads might be coming through so intensely. Like it's okay to take notes if you need to. Sometimes it really helps. You don't have to feel like, oh, I have to remember everything right now. You can just let it come and then just take your little note and you can come back to that later.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of mercurial attunements come through this lunar cycle too, with all that work.
Oh, wow. And then look at that. Venus is entering into the Virgo Libra void right with the new moon and Mercury's retrograde. Mercury station. So that seems perfectly on point for just this, like the benevolent
story.
the benevolent judge to walk us through this
with some grace.
with some grace.
Sure. So yeah,
And reminding us,
let's move on to Venus, and we'll just have a look at what she's doing, because she is definitely going to be the voice of reason in December.
You know, as we take this walk through this like intensity, you know, I feel like Venus being in Libra for this, it reminds us like of the beauty way, of the importance of doing things with beauty, doing things with care, because then each moment is a living ritual, and we're able to actually embody the massive cascade of frequencies moving through this time period of the sky.
Yes. So this is the 1st of December. Yes. Yeah. Is it? Yeah. She's still in Virgo. So still transiting Virgo. She enters Virgo Libra void on the 13th of December as she passes that last star in Virgo's foot, and officially enters Libra on the 17th at Zubanel Janubi, our Zubin friends. So that means from about the 15th to the 18th or so. Well, I think she enters Libra like overnight on the 17th. So it's like 17th, 18th. From the 15th to the 18th, she's in that little patch of sky that I call the Royal Venusian window. So it's like sovereignty codes. And then she officially enters Libra at Zubanel Janubi. She crosses Libra until the 29th, when she enters the Libra Scorpio Ophiuchus void. Scofucus. I think we're just gonna have to make that a thing, Georgia. Scofucus.
Scofucus. I think it's pretty catchy.
I think it totally is catchy.
I think so too.
But I do like, again, how, you know, Venus is putting on her holy crown as we start this whole retrograde season off. It's just kind of really the perfect unfoldment. Like, thank you for walking us through this, beautiful queen, who's completely happy and at home in Libra. It's like she's literally putting on, like, it's her crown.
Yeah. It is. She's in this void space until January 1. Literally on January 1, the 1st of the Gregorian New Year, she pops to that Scorpio membrane. I'm like, oh, dang. Happy New Year to you guys.
Yeah.
So she'll be floating around in that void until the 1st of January. From the 29th to the 1st. Yeah.
Amazing. So we're in for a deep year ahead through Venus. I mean, I feel like Venus it holds such an energy of how to maneuver on the earth, like as a human, because it feels like the higher octave of earth. So it feels like she holds a lot of magnetism, like in terms of like, how are we going to be maneuvering through all of the other aspects of the sky?
Yeah. And again, bringing that feminine sort of balance and wisdom and grace, and it's I mean, Venus is, you know, ruling planet of Libra, so she's very happy in Libra. She loves being in Libra. It's kind of the more intellectual side, the reason side, but the one that likes the harmony. So it is really going to be bringing some of that to help temper those other shadow aspects that feel like they want to come up to be reconciled this month. Thank you, Venus. I feel like you're saving our butts this month.
she kind of is. I mean, look at that. She's at Hadar, which brings such a compassionate benevolence through. just like right before that.
On December 24th.
Exactly. Just say that because now we know.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So perhaps those difficult conversations that might pop up with your family will actually be held in some kind of compassion and grace, and there is that possibility of having some deep healing along that too. So that's Venus just completely shining on us.
Yep. And on the 29th, she's aligned with Alpha Centauri as she's exiting Libra into the Libra Scofucus void. And I feel like Alpha Centauri is like a major checkpoint. Like, how well did you integrate your Venus, your Libra things as the planet transited? So it almost feels like a savior game spot. You know, like if you did it good, it's gonna sort of, well, I don't want to use the word good, but if you navigated it appropriately for where you're at, it makes the rest of the Venus transit through Scorpio and Fucus, I feel like, a little bit easier. Because it literally is like you just go through it more empowered. That's really that Alpha Centauri energy is like, I don't know, it's really just checking your vibe. You know, do you need to do this again, or did you do it well, or, you know, how are you navigating it, and what do I need to bring up for you as we transit this deep part of the sky to make sure you go past galactic center as in alignment as possible, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I always feel that Centurion energy with Alpha Centauri.
I do too.
Yeah.
Like the wise centaur. Like, you know, there's different kinds of centaurs. This is the centaur who is wise, who knows about medicine, astrology, who's a benevolent centaur.
Keeping it real.
Yeah.
Keeping it real. All right. Yes. So thank you, Venus. That's amazing. I am really, I was happy to see those kinds of things for Venus. So, anything else y'all want to throw in the hat on that? Sasha, you got any? You have a bunch of Libra placements.
That's true. Yeah, with Venus and Libra, a lot of it, especially with all of the Scorpio, like the Scorpius activations and Ophiuchus activations, it's like the shadow and the healing only needs to occur if the Libra scales aren't balanced. So during that time, especially when it comes to Venusian themes of what is allowing you to access the vibration of love, whether it's platonic or romantic or your surrounding environment, you know, just ask yourself, does it feel balanced? Are you giving as much as you're receiving, and vice versa? You know, not at all times, but sort of in a zoomed out picture in the grand scheme of things. Does it feel just? And if not, then adjust. And, you know, if it's not just and balanced, that's when the poison will brew in Scorpio, and it will facilitate the necessity of healing through the Ophiuchian lens.
Yeah.
Nice.
Man. It's like, sometimes I wish I had not Saturn in Gemini.
Oh,
like you just said everything that's like, that's exactly what I was seeing in my head, and my words are like blah 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 blah. Thank you, Sashi.
well, I have Mercury in Scorpio, so I can usually, you know,
yes,
just
this is something you can speak to.
Yeah,
yeah,
I usually
definitely.
get tongue tied. It's like I can see it all in my head, and then it just doesn't come out my mouth the same way.
Well, Mercury is my ruling planet, so
yeah,
thankfully,
that's very helpful.
And I feel like with Saturn in Gemini, it's like Saturn delays, but it does not deny. And
it really makes you work for crafting what you want to say, though. Like, why do you think I make out these extremely long transit lists? Because it's like, even sometimes when I have it sitting right in front of me, I'm still like, wait, what?
I find you quite well spoken personally, and I'm just wondering if perhaps it's your second Saturn return that will kind of lift the veil. Yeah.
Or maybe there's just a medium that's more appropriate, you know, like I'm really pursuing that at this point. Like, what medium, if it's not spoken, would be
Maybe it's a
great for, like,
calendar.
information work. Yeah. So a lot of it's like graphic design and art.
Huh?
I'm like, maybe it's something like that where it's just a different medium than words. I mean, there is something to be said about, working and mastering at a skill that you feel like you're not good at. But
Part of
maybe
it is
there's
just sort of
something else that's
brain
an
cleaning
easier avenue,
yourself
right? So
of like, I am good at
yeah.
this.
Yeah, exactly. So I have a feeling I'm gonna like switch gears to something, and it's just gonna be like a perfect fit, and it's just gonna go, and I'll be like, there's the gear. So you guys will just get to hear me just verbally do what I do until
we
I
love
find the
listening
right
to
gear.
We love listening to you, and so does everybody here, I'm
Okay.
sure.
Thank you.
Agreed.
I try. Okay. Venus, does that feel good for y'all for Venus?
Definitely.
So
Yeah. All right, let's
move on to our man Mars.
That'll be our last super fast mover. Whoa, my ear just went really weird.
Which ear?
Right ear. Hello, Mars.
Masculine ear.
Mars.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
There have been some interesting energy attunements today, like at sunrise. Good God. I was like, okay, maybe I'm not sleeping today. Anyway, yes, masculine energy. Mercury things integrating this today. So Mars. All right, Mars is traveling in Scofucus as we come into December. And he basically just spends all month transiting across both of those fine fellows, or lady and fellow. We'll see where we end up on that. At the end of the month, I think he is right on the cusp of leaving. Let's see, where is he at? He's at Galactic Center on the 31st. So he's still within both Scorpio and Ophiuchus. Just barely, like by a degree. So he doesn't officially exit either one of those until January. And he conjuncts, I know we've talked about this, but he conjuncts Mercury retrograde on the 27th at show. So he too will have an Antares alignment this month on December 8th.
It's like Mars is just backing up the sun.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. Did you get it the first time? No, don't worry. Mars will be following right up behind to get it again.
We're going to do it on a soul level, and then we're going to make sure that the masculine really
action taking. Yeah.
Yeah, I always think it's interesting Mars going through Scorpio because, I don't know why it seems like just the weirdest chart ruler because Scorpio being a water element and then Mars, and it's just like, you're the one planetary ruler that just, I don't know. I feel some kind of way about it.
I think it's because of it's like, for me, Pluto rules Scorpio, but Mars rules the stinger. And when we think about, which we'll obviously talk more about when we get into our Scorpius episode, but, Scorpius has 7 emanations. The highest emanation is the Phoenix. So it, like, you go through the death and rebirth and transformation of Scorpius, and you eventually die and rebirth as fire.
Yeah.
So, and that's the nature of fixed water. So fixed water, at just physically in our reality is ice. And we experience the extreme of fire and ice in the same way. That's why people who, have get extreme cold, it feels like they're burning.
Ooh, okay. That's why this is so associated with injustice wounding. Yes. Injustice and betrayal. I always think, injustice wounding is the play out from injustice is just like coldness. Like you're just detached from everything. You just don't give a flip. So
I also experience,
there's a lot of things clicking in my head right now. So
I also experience Scorpio is hot water, like hot springs, like still hot water, as well as that ice. And also for me, I've often thought about, well, what is Mars? If we are not in a time of war, what role would Mars play? And from my understanding is that in this sense, Mars is more of a priest. And so when Mars moves through Scorpio, it becomes less of a warrior. Like the Mars that we know is the Mars that is through Aries, but Mars has another side, and that this is the side of the priest. This is a Vedic perspective. So then that this would be the feminine Mars.
Mars and Scorpio to me can feel like a cult leader
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, Mars and Scorpio. I have dated a lot of people with Mars and Scorpio. I have no complaints on that. But yeah, it's a very, very intense placement.
Yeah.
And even like, I mean, in one lens, you could say every placement in Scorpio is at war, usually with themselves. But you know,
it could just be the
even
conflict, the nature
yeah,
of
even if
conflict.
not in war, it feels like scorpionic energy would be playing defense.
Yeah. Because it's, Scorpio is offensive at the
protective.
claws, defensive at the tail, and it's
Yeah.
just toggling between the two. So it just feels like an internal battle, which really, I mean, would describe the nature of that kind of emotional water. Like struggle. And I keep having to remind myself, like there's a membrane as you enter Scorpio, and that's the true, like the purest intensity of Scorpio, and then the rest of the whole thing is a blend, because Scorpio goes so far down below the ecliptic, and Ophiuchus definitely comes into play.
And
yeah, I mean,
like
it's impossible to talk about Scorpius and Ophiuchus separate from one another, especially considering that one of the emanations of Scorpius is a snake. It's right in the middle there, and that's the one that transcends the reptilian frequencies. But it's they act as a unit. But I love that analogy of like the initial entry of Scorpius being a membrane.
Yeah.
It's almost like from the entry to galactic center is just, you're in this pocket, pop in, and then the point is to pop out the galactic center, reborn, reconnected to galactic things.
Yeah, it's almost like the hymen to the womb.
Yeah.
I think though we deal with some of the undercurrent things through Scorpio, that I feel like it's more of low vibe Scorpio, to like Scorpio is at war itself. Scorpio is always like devouring itself. Scorpio is always, I feel like that's not just what Scorpio is, as we see that Scorpio is really a part of the same. I feel like Ophiuchus and Scorpio, it's the same constellation, and we're teasing out the two parts because they're so interconnected. So for me, when I like look at it from like just backing up a little bit, I also see that this idea that Scorpio is always at war with itself is also some part of the thing that is transcended in Scorpio.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's really when you get to snake spirit that is the case. But usually when like people who have Scorpio placements, if they're acting in a Scorpio, like a scorpion mentality, it's usually very much feeling like they need to hide, defensiveness, poisoning themselves, poisoning other people's emotional body. And just like in nature, it's like when a scorpion is cornered by a predator, it will die by its own poison and sting itself. So not only does that predator not have the satisfaction of killing it, that predator can now also not eat the scorpion. So it's that typical like self-sabotaging behavior. Not that Scorpio is all about that, but definitely the scorpion emanation of Scorpius is, I would say, definitely more low vibe than not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the thing to be transcended.
Yeah,
I
for
think it'd be
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't get stuck in that energy. Well, you can. You don't
You
want to.
can. Yeah, the motto really is the poison is the medicine. And like that, it has to just be your mantra. It's like, there it is. Okay, let's go. Let's do something with it. Let's make this medicine because it is inherently, right?
Mhm.
You just have to know how to work with it or prepare it or, navigate the
Alchemize
thing.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So,
Because really, what's coming up in the underworld is the things that we have stashed deeply into the shadows.
mhm.
So
Suppression.
it's showing us where we're at war with ourselves, essentially, but it's also showing us our path of freedom.
Yeah, internal conflict. And it's,
Mhm.
fascinating that Antares is a portal. It's like such a huge fixed star, power star in this location. And it is all about getting into those Akashic records and those past lives and other stations of identity to go figure out where all that stuff is coming from that collapse. It doesn't collapse, but you experience it in different ways because all those layers are present in your DNA template and you're just those situations just manifest in your life so you can deal with it. Right?
Mhm.
But you will feel very afflicted if you don't understand why the stuff shows up. So it does
Mhm.
talk about figure out all the places where it's coming from, and it's usually bigger. It's a bigger picture than just this lifetime.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to
So then
transcend
it
that stuff.
gives us an opportunity to reclaim so much quanta. And so this
Oh,
is also
yeah.
where like the power
Yeah.
of Scorpio. It's like, I'm taking all my power back. And
Yeah.
you are.
Mhm.
Yep. No longer giving your power away. No longer, it's not just spinning in internal conflict anymore either. When you
Exactly.
can see where it's coming from, you have a whole different set of options to dealing with it. You're like, oh, it came from a lifetime 10 lives ago? Okay, well, all right, let's go figure out what I need to know and take care of business. Because really, it's interesting when you get into some of the modalities that I've got into to work through my stuff because I have some very significant placements at Antares. How you can very easily and efficiently just wrap that shit up. Literally, you need to know just a handful of things, and you're like, okay, well, let's close the books on that. Thank you very much. Who needs a hug? And on you go. Right?
Mhm.
Sometimes, most of the time, when it's your stuff, yes. If it's ancestors, there might be some more work to do, but it's definitely an interesting power portal for taking your power back, for sure. With Mars sitting here.
And then Sachi, I agree. Mars and Scorpio, there's nothing to complain about when it comes to partners.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. They make wonderful lovers.
Exactly. All right. So
Jupiter, shall we move on to
yeah.
our benefic, boisterous friend Jupiter? From here on out, these guys, there's only a few of them that are doing any significant different things. So we can probably breeze through the rest of these guys pretty quickly. Jupiter will be going direct in December. He's heading towards the Cetus Aries Pisces blended void space, but he never
Yeah.
quite makes it there. He never quite moves past that first Aries star back into Pisces kind of energy. So he will station direct on the 29th and go direct on the 31st at the very end of the month. And that's his big to do in December. That's it.
Mhm.
But that's enough because like he's in a very intense part
There's
of
a lot
space,
in that
so.
little inch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's doing a lot. Even though he's not, he is. In true
So
Jupiter style.
Yep.
Jupiter is going direct when Mars is at the galactic center, and the next day Venus enters into the Scorpio space.
That's
Yeah,
a big
pretty
deal.
wild, huh?
Yeah. So that's how we're ending this year, or this Gregorian year, and how we're
Fireworks
yeah.
for everybody.
Yeah.
But also really shows like, because like we know there's a natural year, but we also know that we're all subscribed to this numbers year. But it really does show like some profound benevolence, like the way that Venus is walking us through December. It feels like Jupiter will be walking us through 2024, going direct right at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, some very interesting things at the end of December. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And then here we are with Chiron again this Christmas, Chiron going stationing direct on Christmas. So a lot of healing happening around the holidays this year.
For sure.
Yeah, so that window where he's just stationed, it's kind of funny wild card energy. It's like you have 2 days and you can really make some serious shifts in 2 days of how do you want to play this. So through those holidays, when the stuff comes up, just know you have this window where it's like, I can really quantum leap some stuff here before he goes direct.
But with the full moon bringing it all up right in that window, make sure you're connecting to your breath. Make sure that you're doing as you need to move your nervous system, like sometimes shaking, jumping around, dancing, just acting like a little kid can actually really help release a lot of stuff that's like lingering and stuck.
Yeah. And when he stations, he's about 1 degree from an alignment with Alpha-Rats and Pegasus. So again, DNA, galactic template DNA recoding things, like bridging, doing that work, bridges. You can do a lot of healing to galactic templates for yourself. So he didn't quite pass back over it, so it wasn't necessary to go fully over it, to ping it off, but we're kind of eking into that energy, and then he goes direct and starts moving away from it again. So
and I think we talked more in depth about that in November transits.
Yeah.
And even with Jupiter, I think even our first transit episode is when we talked about sort of the meat and potatoes of it.
Of him, where he was
with Jupiter and Saturn and all the outer planets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if anyone wants that information,
Saturn, same with Saturn.
To our very first transit episode, which I believe is episode 2 or 3.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it is now, but it's one of those. It's not 1. It's either 2 or 3.
It's
Yeah. So Saturn's doing similar things
2.
to what Saturn did. Yeah, it's probably episode 2.
Yeah.
So Saturn's doing what Saturn's been doing, hanging out in Aquarius. Saturn's pretty happy in Aquarius. Saturn does actually align with Enif in Pegasus this month on December 19th. So again, another little nugget where it's like, yes, galactic template recoding things. And I also I love these what's the moon doing on certain transits that we're kind of adding to this. Saturn Moon Matrix Day, December 17th. While Saturn is pretty much exactly aligned with Enif and Pegasus. I was like, oh dang, look at that. Karma work, galactic templates, turning on the light body stuff, moving into those, visionary things for the future. Good times. Make sure you're on the right side of history with that one. That's all I'm saying.
For sure.
So anything else you want to throw in the hat on that? Because I know we have covered Saturn and Aquarius in depth.
Yeah.
I
think we're good.
I would just say reference episode 2.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, outer planets. Uranus, he's the only guy that's staying for the retrograde party after December. He's hanging out under the back feet of Aries, kind of in Aries, Cetus, Taurus, kind of like nebulous region. There's nothing really going on with him. No significant conjunctions, no significant fixed star alignments. So that's it. Thank
Thanks
you,
for taking
Uranus.
it.
Party on, brother.
Thanks for taking it easy on us this month.
Yeah.
We have enough
He
going
comes
on.
into play with some of those moon aspects for the new full moon, but or which one was it? It was one of them. New moon. Yeah. He comes into play for the new moon. So other than that, party on, dude. Okay, Neptune going direct on the 5th of December. He will station about 1 degree from our cabin Pegasus. Look at all these Pegasus alignments. And that Pegasus was the aha moment this month with the Zeta Reticuli thing. So I do feel like there's some significant consciousness work, rehabbing moon chain lineage stuff going on with that, like recoding templates to heal some of that digressed lineages and things like that. Again, same as Saturn, Neptune did not retrograde fully back over Mercab, but got really close. So as he goes direct, he starts trucking away from that. And he's in Pisces, and that's kind of it.
Well, it feels like, with this, it's going to help like lift some places where people are living in delusion, and it will bring more like of a spiritual clarity. And I think also like anyone who's been having a hard time with substances, with Neptune going forward, it will be start to become easier to shift that relationship.
Yeah, that's definitely, that feels true. Or if you just feel ungrounded in any way, like you just like, I just can't get it together, it might start to shift. Be very aware, I guess, if you are using, like, that's interesting that you bring that up, because I've had some sessions this month where it's like, how do I transition into something healthier? And I'm like, that's good. Getting off this and maybe moving into like using food as something like in a healthy way to support the body instead of checking out using this other stuff, right? It's like nourish the body, get your feet on the ground, clear your head, be very conscious of your choices. Like it's kind of an awareness game with Neptune.
Yeah, and what are you using to escape?
Yeah.
Like
how much are you like how much are
you
exactly
out? Dosage is definitely something so important. That has been a theme with Neptune. I always say it's really important to distinguish use from abuse with any substance, alcohol or party drugs, or even herbal drugs or medications that you're prescribed to. Those are drugs too. Just because someone says that it's okay for you to take them, that doesn't mean you're not a drug addict. So being very mindful of how you are altering your state of consciousness to not deal with something that your body is trying to tell you. For me personally, anytime Neptune goes retrograde, we raw dog reality here. There's zero substances at all. So when Neptune goes direct, it's like, okay, let's have fun.
Clear.
But obviously, not going overboard. So
yeah, and it can be like a shift from using mind altering substances to meditate. Like say it's a plant medicine or something, and you're like, well, why don't you try meditating with the consciousness of that plant? Or why don't you just try taking flower essences instead of feeling the need to check out? Because the work is really consciousness work. It's like you can do it without ingesting the medicine or whatever happened, the substance. So that's the game there.
Totally.
So there's a time for it though, but then also sometimes there's not.
There can be, it's
you don't need to though. You don't need to.
And dirty way, or maybe not even cheap. It's the expensive and dirty way to experience these states of consciousness, where you can do it on your own without the need for any substance. So Georgia, you mentioned like DMT, which is a great example. Sure, you can, find it on the streets or whatever, or from a friend or, trusted a shaman. But you can also just breathe. You can endogenously produce DMT, and the most potent is through the lungs. So
Yes, indeed.
it's like, are you going to do it the natural way or the expensive and dirty way?
Yeah.
I
have a friend who makes
external way, I would say.
Yeah. One
Yeah.
thing that keeps tapping me
Go.
on the shoulder to share is that for anyone who is going to use this time to step more into their clarity, especially around marijuana, Tulsi tea is an amazing antidote to marijuana, and it will literally help to clean, will clean your cells. It's like a little windshield wiper, and will like wipe away the THC. And also, and I've mentioned this before, blue lotus is an amazing plant that will help to just kind of gently open the space while not blasting you past your actual capacity. So that can also be a way to help integrate making those kinds of changes.
Yeah, blue lotus in the right dose it's a heart energy connector to the sacral area. For women, it connects the heart to the uterus. Like you can literally feel it working.
Yes.
But it's in a moderate, appropriate dose, not a psychedelic. I'm taking this to have a psychedelic experience. I'm taking this in a therapeutic capacity.
Yeah, we're talking like a cup of tea.
Yeah. And then there's also
with not a whole flower of lotus. Right, because that's a lot of lotus.
There's also the aspect of like people who have addiction issues, maybe with alcohol or smoking, cigarettes or marijuana, whatever it may be, of actually going into a therapeutic dose of psychedelics. There's so many different studies that psilocybin and even MDMA can reduce addictive behaviors like alcoholism and cigarette smoking.
And pot smoking,
obviously,
microdosing mushrooms can be very helpful for breaking those, like repatterning neural patterns. Really.
Increasing your neuroplasticity.
Because if you think about it too, we are the earth, we are the stars, and so it's always the both and. Well, you don't need to, and it's a natural part of it. It's all about it's our intention. It's how we go about it. It's always how we go about it.
Yeah, I have a friend who makes a really good point with like ingesting substances. He's like, that's just a permission slip to work with that plant's energy, or that, whatever it is, that energy of that substance. You don't need the substance to do it, but not everybody is at that capacity. So sometimes it's like it's just like a helping mechanism, like, okay, take the step in that direction. And then that's why it's so important, especially with like some of the psychedelic plant medicines, is like is to have the experience and then sit down for a good solid period of time and process that and practice that and try and get back there on your own. For whatever that is, because you don't need to do it repeatedly. That's not the point of plant medicine, honestly.
The integration is the most important part, because we've spoken to it a lot tonight. If you blast yourself out too often and too far, you can damage the crystalline structure of the lower strands of DNA. So really, it's like we want these little reminders or windows into more integrated parts of our being, and then we have to do the work to integrate it.
And for some people, it's really not recommended, honestly. Like certain placements in charts, I would be like, hard no on anything psychedelic. And I do not advise this. You will pop yourself into a past life trauma that you cannot get yourself out of. So probably they can, but it might be a real hard climb out of that well. You know what I'm saying? Like you might re-traumatize yourself. So sometimes it's not even advised. It's just do the breath work. It's just find other routes. Really, like sometimes it's just more appropriate. So it's all a consciousness game.
No, and that's true too. That should always be a disclaimer. It is not for everybody. It's not for everybody, and it's not for all the time.
Right. True. And we are not medical professionals advising.
We are not medical
professionals. No, we are not.
This is for entertainment purposes only.
These are experiential
Legal
life
disclaimer.
lessons. Consult your doctor. They'll laugh at you, but go ahead and try.
Consult your inner doctor.
That's the one.
Funny. I love Neptune though. It's
Me too.
Me too.
You know, it's got its low octaves, but like the whole consciousness thing is just, it's so it's what life's all about. So I love it. I love this planet. And I feel honestly like it's the portal in the subconscious to your higher self, like looking at where your Neptune is in your natal chart. So I love tracking where Neptune's at in the transits. It just gives me like an inkling into things in a certain way where I'm like, ooh, look at that.
Yeah, we live in a cool time of what Neptune's doing.
Yeah,
I'm very pleased.
Yeah.
Same.
Very cool stuff. I think the 80s were a big time for Neptune too, because he was crossing galactic center. I always love it when people from like the early 80s book a reading. I'm like, ooh, you're galactic center, baby. I'm like, ooh. I wonder what you're working on, you know? So that's fun.
I was reflecting on that too. I like that age group as well. And also just having lived through, I was a little kid in the early 80s. It was such a fun time. It was like really an incredible time.
Yeah.
Party time. Excellent.
Well, thank you, Neptune. That was awesome. Retrograde transit. I feel like I got a lot of work done in that Neptune retrograde. So
same.
Yeah. So moving on to Pluto. He's not doing much of anything different. And I'll take it.
Yeah.
He's still floating in Capricorn, Sagittarius, void space. He is direct now, though he's been direct.
So though I will say that I'm starting to notice the glimmers of Pluto getting closer to Capricorn for sure, just in this, and maybe you guys can agree with this or see it too. I've come across about 5 people in the last week who are all having, myself included, spontaneous tooth trouble.
Oh, really?
So stuff going on with the skeleton, with the bones, which we'll see through Capricorn. And with Pluto, that's going to bring big transformation. So the first thing I thought to myself was, we need to take care of our bones during this time. And minerals are especially going to be important during Pluto's transit through.
Girl,
Capricorn.
you are so on that. Literally, I had a body code session and the practitioner was like, your body wants minerals. I was like, 10-4, you got it.
Yep.
On point.
So fulvic acid, selenium, and again, this is just our friendly talk. You make your choices for yourself.
Yes.
Everyone who's listening. Yeah.
True story. Yeah, and
selenium is an important one because it's one of the main minerals that's leached from the soil and something that we're just not getting. And you'll find with selenium that a lot of the other minerals are easier to uptake that like in your body. So just
and magnesium's a big one that's leached out of the soil too. And that's an electrical system lubricant, basically. Like your electrons in your body use that. So
my favorite way to use magnesium is the magnesium lotion. I literally got myself out of a knee surgery using it. It is incredible.
Nice. Stuff. I have some of that too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I tend to stay away from the oral magnesium. I go transdermal for sure.
Same.
Yeah. So Pluto is not retrograde, is traveling towards Altair again. Yay. He's about 3-degree orb from Altair in Aquila constellation, the Eagle. So that is an alignment. But that's, for me, the Eagle, the Altair is like the Alpha Star in Aquila, and it's like the astral Zoom room, like where souls collaborate. And I don't know, when there's alignments like Pluto aligned with Altair, whew, when it crosses back over that, there's gonna be some deep collective like astral work, and even just moving towards it now, it's like people are probably out doing all kinds of recoding stuff while they sleep. So love that alignment.
I feel that, yeah.
So much.
You know, it's going to be big for the collective masculine, especially like Altair is, I have to reread about it. But it has something to do with like where the mask, like there was some hijacking that occurred there, and like the sacred symbol of the eagle, this is why we see it on the money, United States, like all these places that we see the eagle, is because it's a stolen symbol from this constellation. So there'll be a lot of reclamation happening through this as well.
I agree with that too.
Yeah. And just a reminder that America's true Pluto return is about 1 year away on 12/27/24.
Yes,
so we are inching closer to that. Yeah, which is a big deal.
Yes, the eagle being the symbol of the United States. Yeah, it's a power symbol for sure. Like it can be symbolic of like, not for the United States, but as a metaphysical thing, energetic thing, remote viewing, seeing things from a very high perspective, high dimensional work. Right. So that's why I jokingly call it the astral zoom room. Because it's like the higher selves all going out to do grid work and stuff. Sewing the solar system back together kind of thing.
Also an emanation of Scorpius.
Yeah, that's true. The eagle emanation.
The eagle eye.
Yeah, and you can see where the constellation is along the Milky Way. It's like traverses the Milky Way. So out there in the galactics doing things. Yep. That transcendent Scorpio. I can't wait till we do our Scorpio episode, because I think your 7 emanations of Scorpio model is so fascinating, Sashi. And I can't wait to get that on record.
Yes, there's plenty to talk about that episode for sure.
So Pluto being associated with like the deep, deep subconscious, and a lot of times there's karma attached with Pluto. Well, I'm going to say all the time. Pluto is one of the repositories of very old subconscious karma that needs deep transformation. So to attain those astral traveling spaces consciously, it's kind of like a deep karma game. And it's interesting when you start looking at it from, the solar or the Pluto return of the United States, because you're like, what game are you playing? Right? You're like, wow, that is just, you know how to use the astrology. So
exactly.
It'll be interesting to see what happens in the next year in this country.
Get your popcorn.
Light way to say it. Oh no.
Good deal. Shall we move on to the nodes?
Sure. You want to pop up your
oh yeah, that's right.
Software?
Let's see. Yeah, let's go back to okay. Let's see if I've still got the other chart. I think I do. Here we go. Yeah, I gotta juggle. There's just not enough room on this screen with all this stuff. There's a south node hanging out right at Spica Arcturus. Moving away from Spica Arcturus this month. South node's kind of been hanging out there for a while. Let's get the little clicker button. So this is December 1st. You can see Venus. Well, if we back up into November 19th, 29th, 30th, Venus is aligned. 29th, Venus is aligned with South Node, Spica, and also Arcturus, because they are in the same alignment pretty much. I think on the 30th, she's more aligned with Arcturus. But on the 29th, it's definitely Spica and South Node. So that's where we kind of enter into December. Venus is cruising off, and South Node will just start slowly, very slowly, trucking across the sky. Doesn't move very fast.
Not at all.
So that's about all that's going on there. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's about it. North Node. And I think it's just kind of wrapping up some of those. It was just kind of like, we're just waiting for Venus to cruise by to sort of seal some things in here. Like, I don't know. With South Node, it could be like there could be some feminine energy that is up for reintegration, like maybe some past life diplomatic skills, some portal guardian things.
Cleanliness,
Arcturians,
organization skills too.
yeah. Arcturian energy tends to be connected with like portal guardians to Andromeda because it's opposite the chart in the chart. So there could be some of that coming up actually like now, but moving off in December. It's kind of done for December. So that's the big excitement. It's kind of like currently. And here's South Node Chiron, or North Node Chiron, sorry. I think this month, let's see if I can find Saturn. This thing will not highlight stars like your app will. The North Node does align with Saturn, which is, I consider it like the heart of Andromeda on December 26th. 26th. So that's about here. Or is it this one? I can't remember. It's one of these two. This constellation looks different than my sky app. So it's got the Great Square Pegasus in this one, which a lot of times is not drawn in. So that'd be interesting. It does feel like there's some definite little portal, like let's push into Andromeda energy type stuff through your spiritual work, your spiritual path. It's interesting that Chiron's still kind of lingering there, but it does feel like we're building a bridge. Like I always feel like the highest emanation of Chiron is a bridge. So it feels very like driving through the tunnel and we're making a bridge.
I like that. I feel like, Chiron just has so much potential. It's like the unlock. It's the key that unlocks the entirety of the chart. So when Chiron is going to be conjunct with the North Node, it's going to unlock some extremely deep healing in the collective. And it's going to also activate a lot of people who have been wanting to do healing work. Like people who are innately healers are going to feel activated and start to feel ready to do their work in the world.
Yeah, when they come back together.
Yeah.
Yep. Good times. Yeah, there's Cetus below. So it feels ancient Andromedan, not just Andromedan, ancient. Very cool. Do y'all have any feelings as to, this is a silly question for this month because it's like the whole month. Power Day for December?
Hard to say.
I think it's hard to pick.
I mean, it's hard not to say the 26th.
Yeah, I would say probably between like the 21st and 29th.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole week or that whole
that
window.
window. I don't know if I could just pick one day.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick one day.
I think the new moon is going to be I think it's going to be a very potent energy gateways opening for the new moon too on the 12th.
I do too.
So there may be a couple, although I think the full moon is going to be wild too, but yeah,
pretty much new moon and beyond.
yeah.
The first couple weeks of December, take your time, but
25 out of the 31 days
are intense.
For sure.
So make sure you're getting a lot of sleep, take good care of your body, eat nutrient dense food, just keep taking good care because it's a lot moving through our space. It's a lot of frequency. So take care of the nervous system so you can make space for all of the new beautiful things coming through.
Yeah. For you guys that are in the winter solstice period of the solstice, definitely sleep, hibernate, rest. For folks in the summer, it might be like go to the park and chill. If it's
True.
summer solstice.
definitely speaking through a winter lens, which
Yeah, I
you
have
know.
to always remember that with solstices. Yeah,
I'm okay with speaking through it through
summer.
winter. I'm okay with it.
People. But it can still be the same theme, like rest, but you know, where the daylight is the greatest, you guys on that side of the planet are probably anchoring some slightly different codes. Like it would be like go out and connect in, whereas we might in the northern hemisphere we might do it through the sleep state. Like just sleep
Yeah.
more. You'll anchor your
Or you
codes
could
that
also
way.
rest in the sun. It's like, you know, lay outside
Totally.
naked
Yeah.
if you can and just soak up the sun codes.
Meditate in the sun. Yeah.
Either way, we're working with our nervous system because either way,
Yeah.
it's such they're like the most potent the solstices. So either way, we're working with being able to receive.
Yeah. Indeed. Well, you guys, I think we did the thing.
We did
Yay.
it.
Indeed.
It was a busy month
Mhm.
for hibernation month.
Yeah.
That's why it will be important. Like we can do a lot of this work in the dream space. Just make sure you're giving yourself the rest that you need wherever you live.
Very true. And we'll keep you guys updated on Instagram about calendars for 2024 and also the group chat that we'll do that this week with a group chat for sure.
All right, y'all. Are we ready?
Yeah, I think we've done what we came
We've
here to do.
All right. Well, thanks to everyone who joined us live and on the replay. It is the one and the only True Sky Crew, and we can be found here and also on Instagram at the True Sky Crew. I'm Georgia. My other offerings are currently closed, but you can find me here, and you can also find me on Instagram at Star Nectar Astrology, where I do post quite a lot.
And I'm Janine, and you can find me on Instagram at Inner Sky Alchemy. I am closing my books for December and probably January as I work through this calendar stuff. I will still be available for somatic emotional stuff, and all those links are in my bio link tree.
And I am Sachi. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter at Sachi the Seer. Previously, Sachi the Scorpio. My offerings are also currently closed at this time. But I do have courses available if you're interested in learning how to read your own natal chart. I have Astrology 101, 201, and also a Tarot 101 course as well. And that's in my shop at sachitheseer.com.
Nice. So our next episode in the True Sky Zodiac is for Cancer, and we are doing that on December 14th, right, my friends?
I'm good.
Yes.
I'm good for it if you guys are.
That's a Thursday.
Right.
Yes. Yep.
Great.
Yeah, that's
So
a Thursday.
We'll be
That's
back,
going to be
back
a
to our
very
Thursday
exciting.
programming.
Yes. We're back to our normal Thursday programming. That's going to be a really exciting episode. It's what brought us together in the first place. So more on that next time. And until then, keep your feet on the ground and your eyes on the sky, because the true sky don't lie. Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody. Have a good night or day.
Have a good night or day.
Bye.